Wow, wow, wow. What an incredible and momentous win for BYU over Baylor. But does it set up the Cougars for a trap game? Welcome to the Jersey Score. I'm Trevor, and I know I'm due to get out the rest of my videos on ranking FBS team uniforms by conference, and I will. But between vacation and other life things, I've gotten a little delayed, but they're coming. So be sure to subscribe so you can catch those as they're posted. And while you're clicking on things, please go ahead and hit the like button. So, with all the lead up to the BYU Oregon game, we wanted to talk about that. But first, a quick aside. I've seen some shade thrown at Christopher Brooks and Jake Oldroyd. First of all, Baylor's defensive scheme was built around shutting down the run, and they shut down Tyler Algier last year, and it was effective. So Brooks gets a pass for that. And Oldroyd has made so many clutch kicks throughout his career at BYU, including his very first kick ever to defeat Arizona, a 54-yarder, and a kick to send BYU into overtime against Tennessee. He's earned a little grace. Plus, we want him to bounce back from this, so stop feeding into any self-doubt he must have right now. Now, on to Oregon. Heading into this season, the general consensus was that this might be BYU's hardest schedule ever. This was not only due to the quality of opponents on their schedule, but also when and where those games are going to be played. 2 weeks in, and the schedule has taken somewhat of a hit as some key opponents have already taken key losses, most notably Oregon's drubbing by Georgia. But let's put this into context. I was in Atlanta that weekend, and we were deciding whether or not we wanted to go, and ultimately decided no because the game wasn't going to be close anyway. It was essentially a home game against the reigning champs and a brand new coach for the Ducks. But the beatdown exceeded even my expectations. But when I saw this, I was simultaneously relieved and worried. Relieved because BYU's Week 3 game in Oregon suddenly looked a lot more manageable. After all, it's much better to beat bad teams than lose to good teams. But I was also worried because it now looked like even more of a trap game. Coming off what was bound to be an emotional, grinding game against Baylor, no matter the outcome, but it turned out to be an ultra-physical and incredibly emotional double overtime victory. Could the Cougars get caught up in the Baylor game and overlook the wounded Ducks? Now, if any BYU team in recent history is ready for this, it's this team. They have shown an immense amount of maturity and toughness. While Baylor shut down our run game, theirs didn't fare much better either. And I doubt Oregon's defense will be quite as physical as Baylor's, so I expect the run game to bounce back. And all offseason, we kept hearing about how deep this group of receivers is, but I wasn't buying it because it sounded like basically the same guys as last year, minus Samson Nakua and Neil Pau'u, both with NFL aspirations. I thought that not having our star receivers was going to limit us in the passing game, and probably did, making it harder for us to run. While we did have a hard time running, we were able to make them pay through the air, and a new star in Chase Roberts was unveiled. However, I will still feel loads better if at least one of either Puka or Gunner suits up. Not only are they great receivers, but they demand so much attention that it'll help open things up for the run. And much of Baylor's inability to pass may have been because quarterback Blake Shapen was getting hounded all night. Also, he didn't have anyone open to pass it to because BYU secondary had things locked down. However, some of this is probably due to Baylor's inexperience at the receiver position. And as is well known, Oregon likes to spread things out, and they have the speed and athleticism. BYU secondary is certainly going to have a chance to show if it's for real this weekend. So even though the matchup in Oregon has trap game written all over it, this BYU team has me believing that it can ignore the hype and show up big for a second week in a row. What do you think? Is this a trap game for BYU? And do they have what it takes to win in Oregon? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, And thanks for watching the Jersey Score.